Thank you all so much. I just want to say, as a speaker, and we've all been kind of locked up for the last year, I am so happy to be here. I cannot even tell you. So thank you, Stephanie and Anna, for putting on this event. Hi, live streamers. Super excited you're here. Can you just tell me how this works real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone's different.
Okay, so you go back to go
No, just forward.
this way to go backwards to go
You go backwards to go forward. Okay, everyone got that. All right, here we go. Who's excited to learn how to get PR for their business? Yes? Right? Woo! Okay. So I want you guys to think, and we're not going backwards anymore. Usually I'll be like, oh, how was the last year? Forget that. So imagine, close your eyes, and imagine it's January 14th, 2022, and everything is exactly the same. You have the same number of clients or customers. Your bottom line is the same. Your profit is the same. Who is happy with that? Who would like to have even more? Right? That's what we're going to learn today. That is the power of PR. That's what we can do. We're going to grow your business through visibility. Because when you get PR, right, 1 billion views is what we have. More people find out about you. And it gives you the ability to take that publicity and put yourself in front of potential clients and customers. So what I want you to think about is, let's say somebody Googles you, and they land on your website. This is actually one of my clients, Dana. Beautiful website, right? Lovely, I love it. We just launched this. So Dana looks like a lovely person, right? Now imagine you Google it, and you see this. What does that make you all think? Credibility. Absolutely. It instantly gives her authority. It instantly gives her credibility. There are studies that have been shown that people who have logos can actually charge more money. Who wants to charge more money? Right? Woohoo! Of course! That's what's so amazing about this. I love this slide. She's like my girl. So funny. I was looking at my presentation on the plane, and when we were getting off the plane, the woman behind me said, oh my God, I love your slides. Do you work with small businesses? Can I have your card? She goes, I love the girl. Like, this is the power of PR. It allows you to captivate and cash in. So this is what we're going to go over today quickly. I call it my Get PR Famous formula. Now, this is what I hear from people all the time. But Christina, I don't want to be famous. I get that. But here's the deal. If it's not you, it's going to be you. If it's not you, it's going to be you. The media needs experts, period. So they're going to find somebody. So whether you want to be famous or not, you need to be famous in your industry. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? You want to be that go-to person that the media goes to. So, and I love going after Stephanie and Brian, because everything they've said literally is building into my presentation. We could have done this all together. How simple is this formula? Simple. It's 3 things you have to learn how to do. Now, we're going to go in depth on this tomorrow in the workshop, and for those of you really brave, we could actually pitch the media tomorrow. If you're feeling confident, we are going to do it. Come to my workshop. But this is it. You want to be newsworthy, which I'm going to show you how to do. Come up with story ideas. And again, like Brian said, this is not me, 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 me. I have a client, and I've been working with her for months, and I make my clients write their own pitches. I start by doing them for them, and then they've got to do it, and I'll review them. So she sends me back to pitch. The first 2 paragraphs are all about her. I this, I am this, I did this, I did that. I said, what's the pitch? That goes at the bottom. Get them excited about what you're going to talk about, what you're going to go on TV about, what they should write a story about. This is not a 60 minutes expose. This is a story about something. We're positioning you as the expert. We're talking about you. You're going to get the credibility. You're going to get the byline. You're going to get the link back to your website, but you can't do me, 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 me. That is not a newsworthy story idea. So I'm going to teach you how to be newsworthy. You're going to create a great hook. A hook is your subject line. Think of emails that you get. What makes you open an email? And I'm not saying clickbait, nothing like that, but it needs to be compelling. It needs to be like, wait, I've got to read that email. I have to know what she's talking about. I'm going to show you how to do that too. And then the last part of this is finding the right journalist. You've got to pitch the right person. If you're a business person, don't pitch your business story to the food editor. A, they won't read it, and B, they won't forward it for you. You know how I know this? Because I did it. I've made those mistakes. So everything I share with you, I've done. Now, PR, the cool thing about it is it doesn't cost anything. Now, Richard Branson, right? Probably, if not the wealthiest, one of the wealthiest people in the world, could spend millions, hundreds of millions on advertising. He has been quoted as saying, publicity is absolutely critical. A good PR story is infinitely more effective than a full-page ad. He gets it, right? He sees the value of it. So if Richard Branson gets it, you guys all get it, right? And that's why we're going to learn how to do this. So who the heck am I, right? Who's this woman up here? And we got the story a little bit, right? Help Anna with it. No, seriously. I am a PR strategist. That's what I call myself. I got there out of sheer desperation. I invented a product, like Anna said. I broke my foot. I was in that awful boot. We were going to New York City, and I'm on the train Googling medical boot fashions, medical boot accessories, and there's nothing on the market. Now, I've been a lifelong entrepreneur, and my husband has seen me start and sell a lot of businesses, and he tells a story. He literally saw the light bulbs go off because there was nothing, and I would have had it overnighted to my hotel room. So, ding, 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 I had this idea. I'm now going to be a fashion designer. I'm going to design something to make this boot look better. Well, the funny thing is, I'm in New York. When you're in a boot, anyone been in one? Okay, they're awful, right? Horrible. But when you're in one, you notice everybody else who's in one too. So I'm going through the city and everyone in a boot, I'm like, what if there was something to make the boot look better? Would you buy it? And they're like, yeah, this is great, this is great. So I come home and I move forward with it. My neighbor is an 85-year-old grandmother. She knows how to sew. I was like, Katie, can you help me sew some prototypes? So we go through all of this. Did all the research. You guys, I did everything I was supposed to do. Business plans, focus groups, everybody loved it. I manufacture, we mortgage the house, everything's done, I get the product in, and everything in my business plan did not work because I relied on doctors to sell it. And doctors were, at that time, were not interested in retail. And I mean, I had nothing left. Maxed out credit cards, and I'm like, I'm not going to look at my kids and say, I'm sorry, mommy lost the house. So in sheer desperation, I went to the library, it still exists, and I started reading about how do you get publicity. And I spent years and years of figuring things out to get to that system where we're at now. And the system works. Here I am on the Steve Harvey Show. Which was so fun. Dead broke. I won his top inventor competition. I won $20,000. You want to talk about a shot in the arm to make your business go? And I'm showing you guys this stuff not to brag, not to say, oh, look at me on TV and in the media. I'm just like you guys. I am a business owner who had an oh shit moment. I'm broke and I've got to figure something out. I sold 6 figures from this. 6 figures. You know the cool thing about a show like this? It's in syndication. So it keeps going. People would email me, oh, I was up with nursing my baby at 2 a.m. and I saw this on the Steve Harvey Show and I'm in a boot. So this is the power of publicity. I've been on national radio. This got so many views, I can't even tell you. Amazing, amazing article. I've been on television. And this is so fun. We're in San Antonio. Who's from San Antonio? Look, Ken's 5. It was one of my very first television appearances. But literally everywhere I go, I try to get on TV to talk about what I do, whether it's cosmetic, whether it's, and I didn't even think about it this time with COVID, I've been so out of it, but I like to go and pitch a story and then come speak and say, hey, I just flew into town, pitched a story, I was on the media yesterday, which I didn't do this time, again, because of COVID, but I have been on Ken's 5, so you can see that. This is super cool. People are like, what's the ROI on this? So, and of all things Parler, but right after the election, Parler really took off. You guys know the social media app that's now been banned, but it took off. So I was interviewed several times on different stations. So this picture right here, I spoke with a woman I do, free PR consults. And she calls me and she's like, I'm not sure I'm ready, whatever. That night I get an email from her. She lives in Michigan. She said, oh my God, I turned on my TV. There you are. Took me at the screenshot. You can see it's like she's got her Christmas decorations up and ended up hiring me. So this is what it means when it's that authority and that credibility that you get from being in the media. So I want you guys just to get really excited about this because this will change your business. This will make you stand out. You've got to have something different now, especially in COVID. Everybody went online, right? By April 1st, the whole world went digital, and nobody's doing it very well. But if you have media that you can take to your meetings or your appointments or people find you that way, that's how you stand out. That's what makes you different. This is your magic pill. Everyone says, oh, there's no magic pill. There really is, and it's landing in the media. So imagine if this is you. Who wants this on their websites? Who's excited? Hey, listen, it's after lunch. Eat some candy. Let's go. We're gonna fire this thing up. I'm like energy girl. Okay. Who wants to pay for it though? Anybody? Anybody want to write a check for 30 grand? I love this. I hope this works because that's what PR firms will do. You can write them a check for $30,000, and when you read all the way down in the fine print, you know what it says? There are no guarantees. No guarantees, right. So instead of that, now I know some of you are like, Christina, there's no way I can do this. I'm too busy as it is. All I want you all to do is understand the system. We can teach anybody how to do it. I have a client who's a pediatric dentist, and we worked one-on-one, and she finally said, Christina, I'm running 3 dentist offices. We're in the middle of COVID. She's got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Like, it's chaos. She hires Sasha for $12 an hour. Janelle is on in the media at least once a month, all local, radio, TV, blogs, magazines. Sasha is crushing it. All Janelle has to do is tell her what to do. I've trained her. She knows how to do it. She learned everything you guys are going to learn tomorrow if you come to the workshop. That's it. Anyone hire someone for $12 an hour to do this for them? Yes? Yes. Awesome. Okay. PR. Here we go. Now, when I go through all of this is super important. I want you guys to think about where you're comfortable because these are all different types of media that you can be in. You guys, too, I don't know if they have the slides, but so you can be on television, you can be on blogs, internet, radio. If you had said to me 3 or 4 years ago, Christina, you're going to regularly be on TV, I would have said, absolutely not. There is no way. I'm doing podcasts in my basement where I can barely swallow because there's no saliva in my mouth. I am so nervous. Like every question, I'm guzzling water. And now I do this, and now I'm on TV. So it can change. But think right now where you're most comfortable so that when I'm talking about how to pitch, you've got some ideas of, okay, I'm going to go pitch this local newspaper or this radio station. And what you really want to think of is where your clients and customers are. You guys all know your avatars, right? That's Business 101. You've got to know who your ideal client is. Don't tell me you can sell to everybody. Yes, you can, but for your messaging, you've got to hone that down. So think about what are they reading? What are they watching? That's where you want to try to get media. Now, the other stuff is great for authority, credibility, but at the end of the day, this is all to grow your business. I want you guys to have success, to make money, all from landing in the media. Oops. Oh, now how do I go back? Go forward. This makes a lot of sense. Okay, who advertises? Anyone do advertising for your business, right? You have to. Now, Stephanie, when you do ads, you write the ads, right? You tell them what you want them to say, right? Everyone who does advertising, everybody knows that. An ad is you telling the world how great you are, your company is, and that's fine. It's a part of doing business. The difference with publicity is it's somebody else telling the world how great you are. They call it earned media. It's third-party credibility. And when somebody else tells the world how great you are, it means a lot more than when you do. So I love to use this example, especially here in San Antonio. When I'm in the New Jersey area, it doesn't work as well. But Joe's Pizza, right? New York City, Joe's Pizza. Everyone knows what New York pizza tastes like, of course, my Jersey people. So imagine you're going through your local Gazette and you see the ad for Joe's Pizza, and it says, best pizza outside of New York City. And you know Joe put that in there. And then you flip a few more pages, and you read an article that says, hidden New York pizza gem. And the writer has not been to Brooklyn, where he came from, for 3 years. And he found Joe's Pizza up the street, and he said, this is the best pizza I've had since I lived in New York. Which one's going to make you go to Joe's? The article. You guys get this now, you see? So the ads are good for people seeing you, but this is powerful stuff. So we're back to our formula, right? Now we're going to learn how to implement. Who's ready to be famous? Yes? Yes. Woo! Okay. Who's scared to be famous? Okay, this is what I want you guys to understand. And once you embrace this, this gets so much easier. The media is 24/7, 365. Now, I'll really age myself here. When I grew up, we had 4 channels. You had to get up and change the channel. That was it. You had the newspaper that came once a day, one paper, the Washington Post, no local papers, nothing. That was it. Now we are just bombarded with information. So these journalists need our stories. I will argue that they need us more than we need them. So when you can learn how to pitch good story ideas, they welcome you into their tribe. And I'm telling you guys, I walk this walk every single day in my business. I'm not up here saying, oh, you should do that. I don't like when I go to conferences and people stand up here and tell you stuff, and then you're like, oh, so you did that and it worked? And they're like, oh, no, I'm just telling you to do that. No, I do this. So my first call to my local NBC station, my follow-up call, went something like this. Hi, I sent this story in, and guess who didn't get on TV then? But I learned, and what I learned is when you send something good in, because then I got more confident with it, and I sent a story idea in, and I followed up, and I called, and she said, oh my God, I'm so glad you called. I flagged this email, and I forgot about it, and I want to run this story. So this is the importance of this, which you've got to know how to pitch well, you've got to know how to follow up well, but I want you all to stand in that power of that little Supergirl, because they need us. So be confident. You guys are all confident business people, right? You don't open your doors on Monday morning at 9 o'clock and sit at your desk and go, oh God, I'm not good at what I do. Is this really going to work? No, we're good at what we do. So embrace that. And this is, once you get that confidence, you will see this just steamrolls. It's just easy. Okay, so this is what I want for you. Who wants this on their website? Right? Amazing. Trust me, I know. I have that on there. But if you can do these things. Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute. Please do not pay anybody that will send a press release out for you that is housed on the internet, on these sites, you know, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, all these different places. That's just your press release. When you get media, you put these up and you link it. You take screenshots, you take recordings. I record all my television appearances and put them on YouTube in case the links break. But it's really not right. It's wrong. When you send out a press, if you're not quoted, somebody didn't talk to you, that is not a media interview. And I'm sorry if anyone's done this, but I get really, really upset about this. So I want you to get it the right way. And by getting it the right way, you have that credibility. You have that authority. You get to be that expert in your field. Here's the other thing that it does for you. What's anybody going to do before they work with you? Absolutely. So when you have media, it affects your digital footprint. It makes you stand out. When somebody throws your name into Google, it's like, oh, I'll tell you a true story. I had this idea to partner with my local credit union, $1 billion credit union, $1 billion. So I send the guy an email. It's kind of how I roll. I just try things. So I send it to the president of the company on a Monday. He emails me back. He says, can you be in my office at Friday, 10 o'clock? I'm like, sure. So I go, I'm not kidding you, it's a penthouse office. It overlooks DC. I'm a little nervous. And he comes in like this and he goes, do you know what happens when you Google you? I said, well, yeah, that's what I do for a living. Like, he needed to know who this woman was in his backyard that he didn't know about. That when he put me into Google, it was pages and pages of articles and stuff. Pretty powerful stuff. To get a meeting with the president of a billion-dollar company from one email, and I don't know what was in there that made him Google me, but he Googled me. So that's why I want you all to do this. This is a client of mine, Ashley. She's a realtor. So is anyone a real estate agent in here at all? Okay, awesome. So there are a lot of real estate agents, right? A lot. So they'll probably narrow it down, 3 or 4 to go to the listing appointment. So imagine if they put your name into Google and this comes up. NBC Washington. She's been on local radio, Washingtonian, this obviously the DC area. Or they put the other person in and they have nothing. Who do you think they're going to hire? Bingo. I had a client who did not lose a listing for an entire year because of this. And the interesting thing is his biggest competitor in his market went to their company because he's like, I got to figure out what Casey's doing to win all these listing appointments. Like, how am I not doing it? This is the power of media. I'm not good at this clicker, sorry guys. Okay, so newsworthy. I want you all to be the fish in your own bowl. You've got to stand out. Don't tell the media what everybody else in your industry is going to tell them. You've got to have that hook. You've got to have something unique. You want to be timely, important, and interesting. How do you do that? I'm going to show you. We do what's called newsjacking. Anybody ever heard of that before? So newsjacking, well, of course you have, Stephanie. I know you. So newsjacking is when you take what's going on in the world right now that everybody's paying attention to, and you bring your expertise to it. Now, 2020, obviously, was COVID. COVID. And that's it. So, but there are so many aspects of COVID. You don't just have to be a doctor to get in the media. My real estate agents blew up in the media with COVID. Every industry was impacted. So what could you have talked about your industry? And so you go to trends.google.com, go to Twitter. What are people talking about? Because the media, that's what they want to talk about. A friend of mine who's a news anchor on Fox in DC said it used to be, and you guys probably heard this like back in the day, if it bleeds, it leads. Do you remember that saying? You want to know what it is now? If it's shareable, it's airable. That is the power of social media. We'll talk about that in a minute too. And you probably hear that on your news stations where they're like, oh, go to our Facebook page and like this story. Follow us on Twitter. That they need this stuff too. They have boards in their back rooms, how many followers the anchors have and the reporters. This is big business. So when you can come up with story ideas that are shareable, they're going to be much more inclined to share that story with their audience. So Ashley, newsjacking. We're in the DC area, one of my clients there. And if you guys remember, Amazon HQ2 announced that they were coming to our area. So she pitched a story about that. She's a realtor right in that area where they're coming. But she's so smart. She said, hey, besides this, I have family in Seattle, and I'm going to be heading to Seattle. How about I interview people out there, I get some B-roll. Let's see what Amazon did to the real estate market in Seattle. Loved it. She ended up getting 3 stories out of it. So I get super excited when I look in the media and my clients are there. So literally I woke up on a Sunday and turned on the TV and there's Ashley. So I sent her an email. I'm like, oh, you're my rock star. But look at this email she sent me back. Thank you so much, Christina. Erica, who is the reporter, said I had perfected the art of the pitch. That is the key. She's providing value. Don't you think that would be valuable if you live in an area where Amazon is going to come bring 50,000 jobs and change the whole thing? And you can talk about not just the real estate market, but you can go to where they started and see what happened there. It was brilliant. And she's a regular on there now, which is awesome. Okay, one of my clients and I give you examples like this, again, and Brian said it, there's 4 ways to learn. So I want you to see this stuff. I want you to feel it. I want you to hear it. Because a lot of times I'll tell a story and you're like, oh my gosh, I can do that. That makes so much sense. So Adam runs an HR firm. And if anyone can remember back to February 2020, when there was this virus somewhere overseas. But that's kind of when it started. I don't even think it had a name yet. But people were starting to ruffle feathers about not wanting to go to trade shows in China. So Adam started pitching the media stories about that. Well, it wasn't long before, our world shut down. Well, most companies didn't have work from home policies, right? Why would you think? I know my husband's company certainly didn't. He spent 3 days writing it. So that was the next thing that he got media about. So when I say COVID, there's all these stories. It kept going and going. This is just a couple things. He's been on TV all over the country. He just continues. And now everything is, we're going back to work. How do you set up those policies? So think about what's going on in the world and what you can talk to your local media about. Bring it home, make it friendly. Again, tomorrow we'll go into a lot more in depth. You guys were actually going to write pitches. We're going to write hooks. We're going to get all this stuff done. Here's another example. So Jody wanted to get in the media, and she has a product. Well, it's hard to get products on TV. I get my product on because I know how to hook them in. There's some things you can do. So what Jody did is she pitched this station does a hometown hero highlight on a regular basis. This is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So Jody has ladies who are here. How hard is it when you're traveling alone and you have to zipper up your dress? And you're like jumping through your hotel room, like trying to get up. Well, she invented Zipped Me, which clips onto the zipper and you can pull it up, and it's also a necklace. And they're made out of pearls, not real pearls. But so she hires women who have left abusive relationships and college kids who are paying their way through college to make her products. That's who she hires. Hometown hero. It's fabulous. You never know what you're going to get in the media. This ended up basically being an infomercial for her company. So what she would have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on, and she got the credibility of the CBS logo and the News on 6. You see they put her book in there because the lady said, oh, just bring us everything that you have. So super cool. But again, paying attention. This is not rocket science. You just have to do a little bit of homework, just a little bit, to know where you fit into their puzzle. Because it's all about them. What's in it for them? That's what you've got to think about. That it can't be me. Okay, one of my favorite stories, my client Janae runs 17 homeless shelters in Orange County, California. And she's like, Christina, I just want to get Grandma's House of Hope, as much media as we can get. Well, as you can imagine, Grandma's House of Hope, we can talk about that story once, right? Maybe once a year, to talk about what they do. I said, Janae, we're going to position you as the expert in homelessness. She's like, oh, we're not doing that. I'm not the expert in homelessness. I'm like, what do you mean? You run 17 homeless shelters. How can you not be the expert? Well, she finally caved. I worked with her team. So as studies came out, like there was a study about, and this is actually horrible, and I did not know this. If you are homeless and you have cancer, you cannot have chemotherapy because a hospital will not let you have treatment unless you have a home to go to. So one of her shelters is for the homeless with cancer. Boom, got a story about that. As COVID hit, of course, anytime there was anything trending, there was a lot of, about a year and a half ago, all the political stuff, and they actually said this is before Joe Biden, but whoever the Democratic nominee was going to be based on their stance on homelessness in California. Got her talking about that. So by going a little further out, not just that one thing that you do, but by positioning yourself as the expert in your industry, that's how you get media over and over and over again. Are we good? Are we excited? Yeah, I see lots of notes going. That's really good. Hope you guys are doing good and having fun. All right. Next. Now I'm hitting the wrong button again. Okay. They're all my favorites. I'm like, oh, here's another favorite. Okay. Know the calendar. I got on Fox. Get ready. You guys can all Google this if you don't believe me. April is National Healthy Foot Month. And I pitched that for my boot product. True story. I've got the video to prove it. So my client, and you guys down here, has anyone heard of Slausa? It's kind of like in North Carolina. They're in grocery stores across the country. It's a mix of coleslaw, salsa, mustard. So her dream, Julie's dream, was to be on the Today Show. Like, obviously, you can imagine, 7 million viewers. Of course you want to be on that. So and this is what I will tell you to do your homework, record the show you want to be on, zip through it, see how they cover stories, read the magazines, so you know where you fit in. So she happened to have recorded some Today Show episodes. She's zipping through, and she hears Dylan say, I love to put toppings on my hot dog. So, and normally I would tell you, if you're my client, don't just mail stuff. If you have a product, we don't just mail things to the Today Show. I had a really good friend, her publicist, had her mail $1,500 worth of stuff, and it never got to anybody. So people in the mailroom took it. So I never recommend this. But in this case, Dylan said that she sent her a case of Slausa with a handwritten note that addressed the segment. I heard you say you love to. So if somebody in the mailroom opened it, it was like, oh, this is kind of personal. So sends it in. National Hot Dog Day. There is Dylan talking about Slausa. And she tells the story. 7 million views. Blew up her business. How many of you would like to do that? Right? You see how exciting this can be? And all you need is one time. One time. Okay, celebrity sells. Now this happened to be a client of mine who are, you guys, Terminator fame, right? You know Linda Hamilton? So she wanted this listing so bad. And I do work with a lot of real estate agents in the Virginia area. But so she's like, so she gets the listing, she's so excited. And I'm like, okay, Naomi, well, let's call the Washington Post. And she's like, no, I can't do that. I said, I want you to call Linda. Now, she's listing her house. What does that mean? Linda's moving, right? She wants to sell her house. So I said, call Linda, tell her we're going to use your name. We're going to pitch the Washington Post. And if you get in, 3 million people are going to see your listing. What do you think Linda said? Of course, yes. So she sold Linda's farm from this. She got a buyer from a farm that day. All the local papers covered it. So if you can tie something to celebrity, you don't have to be working with the celebrity. You see it all the time, right? Do we have any attorneys here? Anybody? Well, you see it on TV, a celebrity divorce. They'll bring an attorney on. They'll say, but they are not representing either party. Doctors are on all the time. You know, they didn't perform this surgery on them, and Terrence, we've talked about this stuff before. I mean, you can jump in on anything. Celebrity sells. If you can tie what you're doing to something that a celebrity is doing, use it. The Oscars, it's a great time. If there are movies up for Academy Awards and they talk about your business or your industry or something like that, use that. Use the power of other people. Use the power of celebrity. Again, you do not, Naomi was working with her, but you don't have to be. How can you tie it to them? Okay, and last one, again, one of my favorites, monitor social media. Whether you're on Twitter or not, I want you all to start Twitter lists. And it's super easy to do. Google it. If not, you can reach out to me. We'll talk about it tomorrow in the session. Pick the journalists you want to follow. And like I said, you don't have to be active on Twitter, but that way you're going to see what they're talking about. Journalists go on Twitter all the time when they're on deadlines. I need help. So this story is so awesome. Susan is a home stager. She's basically an interior designer, but she does a lot in the home staging thing. And the reporter put on Twitter that he needed a real estate agent in this area for his 4 o'clock news segment. So she tweets back and says, I'm not a real estate agent, I'm a home stager, I'm staging a home, I'll be there at 4 o'clock. All he did was change the story. So instead of having the real estate agent say how many listings or sales they've had in that area, he had Susan say how many homes she staged in that area. Boom, done. And then you've got that connection, right? You've built that relation. As soon as you save a reporter like that, they will love you forever. I promise you that. When I showed you that scared woman, once you do this for them, you're in. You're absolutely in. Okay, do we feel good about Newsworthy? Step 1, you guys feel like you could do something, do some Google searches? Again, tomorrow we'll dive really deep and you guys will leave with ideas and hooks and journalists. We'll do it all. Okay, step 2 is creating great hooks. Excuse me. This is so easy. So, and I am not a copywriter. I stink at copywriting. I'm getting better because I do it more and more. This is all you have to think of for hooks, is when you're watching television and they break away to the commercials and they say, coming up next, that's a hook. What, you know what that's there for? What do they want you to do? They want you to come back and they want you to watch the ads. Because who pays for their show? The advertisers. So that's a hook. That's all you have to do. One of my favorites is when my kids were in school and they hated summer reading. Coming up next, a book your kids will actually want to read this summer. I'm there. I'm listening. Like, what is it? So that's a hook. So when you do this, and this becomes muscle memory. The more you do this, the more you'll be like, oh, that's a hook. Oh, that's a hook. Okay, now this is the easiest thing in the world to do. Look at magazine covers. The copywriters of magazines are some of the highest paid writers in the world. I've heard the National Enquirer actually is like top. But that's all you have to look at, because where do we buy our magazines? Grocery store. And where are they? Checkout. Impulse purchase. You know, the last People magazine I bought was $7. Did you guys know they're that expensive? I was like, but impulse purchase, I got hooked in by what's on the cover. You don't have time to read even one article. So those are hooks. And tomorrow I've got some magazines and we're going to do it. Google AARP, magazine covers. They're brilliant. Whoever writes for them, and plug and play. Don't steal, don't plagiarize. I always say this, but I went to this event and this woman, Christina Dave, said I could just steal right off the cover of a magazine. No, we change things. We change numbers, subjects, verbs, almost the same. And listen, guys, that goes for story ideas too. If you see a story idea and you're like, oh, I should have been in that article, tweak it and pitch it to their competitor. If one media outlet covered it, anyone get Southern Living magazine? Ever have, right? Every 3 or 4 years, it's the same recipes, right? Exactly. You only need the subscription for a few years. Media is the same way. I remember I saw a holiday segment on the Today Show, and I wanted to use it in a presentation. It was about, it was such a great hook. They had a nutritionist on, and what was the healthiest meal to eat while you're holiday shopping at the mall? So I Google it, and Meredith Vieira, who'd been off the Today Show for years, pops up. She had done the exact same segment one summer. They regurgitate all this stuff. Like I said, this is not rocket science. We're not reinventing wheels all the time. Just start paying attention to what you see and start using that. And like I said, just tweak it a little, pitch the competitor. Literally step 2. Do you think we can do hooks? Magazine covers. Super easy. Okay. See, did aliens take Elvis? That's a hook, right? That's a National Enquirer hook. All right. Step 3, finding the right journalist. Everyone got your paper and pencil ready? Everybody write this down. Google. Google. Google is a question search engine. Did you guys know that? You're supposed to ask Google questions. You're not supposed to just type in a couple words. You're supposed to actually ask Google a question, and they will answer you. So here you go. Who writes about business for the Washington Post? Look, Stephen Pearlstein comes up. Guess what? When you click his name, there he is. See the little envelope? What does that mean? That's his email address. You just click it, boom, you can send Stephen an email. Then if you scrolled further down on the page, look, oh, maybe I need tech, business and tech columnists. Maybe Stephen's not my guy, so I'm going to go here. There you go. Everybody who writes for those categories in the Washington Post. This is how easy it is. When I showed you that scared woman, this is why we shouldn't be scared. They're out there. They want to be found. They want our story ideas. I think the number is 80% of all stories that we see in the media come from people like us. It's not the journalists trying to come up with stuff. It's people sending in story ideas. They want our stories. All right. You guys excited? Yeah. Woo. You want to see some success stories? I will show you how this works. This is Connie. This is the greatest story. Connie is 74 years old. She was a lifelong educator. She retired, and she invented a product called Tip and Split. So Tip and Split is a calculator light magnifying glass. And I know what you're all thinking. I have an app for that, right? Why do I need that? 75-year-olds, 80-year-olds don't want an app. They want the old school calculator with the magnifying glass and the light. So when Connie and I started working together, we couldn't pitch her story. And talking about stories, Stephanie, right? We got a lot of coverage about the grandmapreneur, naming her that. Isn't that great? So, but inventing a product at 74, but all of these media, this is 1 year. 1 year, millions and millions of views. But what we pitched wasn't Tip and Split as a gift for you or for you. It was, what do you give grandma who has everything? Because if they're like my mother, it's 6 to 8 widowed women who go out to dinner and they all want to split the tip and they can't see and they need the light. And, right? Is that true? You guys like that with your parents? But that's how it is. So that's who we targeted. That is the target market. And that is why Connie was so successful, because she did her homework, she honed in, and she figured it out. Do you see how easy? If Connie can do this at 74, first time out of the gate, and this is so crazy. I ran into her in Chicago at a trade show, like the Houseware show, which is one of the biggest shows, millions and millions of people. And she comes running up to me. She goes, Christina, I did so well with Tip and Split, I am going to invent another product. So this is the power of this. Cammie was on, she got the cover, her hook landed on the cover of First for Women magazine. She's a doctor of naturopathy, and it was Sure Cure for Wired and Tired, because she talks a lot about thyroid. And from that, she got on the Dr. Oz show. Did you guys like that? What would that do for your business? It's amazing. Okay, another favorite. Dustin, real estate agent, had his license for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and started working with me. He's like, Christina, I'm going to pitch the Washington Post. I'm like, Dustin, I love you. You're like me. Go big, go home. Just go. I said, but it might not happen right away. You got to give yourselves a little bit of time. It took me 5 months to get my segment on Good Morning Washington. But so he pitched a story about how to sell homes using Facebook ads. And his hook was, this was near the last election, if the Russians can hack our presidential election with Facebook ads, then you should be able to sell your house the same way. So Dustin got $5 million plus listings in 6 weeks, brand new agent, and as a real estate agent, he did $24 million his first year. Hear that? Wow. That's huge. He positioned himself as a luxury agent just from that one article. So I saw Dustin recently, and I'm like, Dustin, why don't you do more? You're so good. Your topics are so great. He goes, I don't need to. I take this one article that was in 2017 now, and he goes, I take it with me. I win every listing. That's all I have to do. You guys willing to do this for one media hit? That's all you need, really. One good one that really talks about what you do, your expertise, you're golden. How much money are you guys leaving on the table by not doing this? A lot, right? What does yellow mean? How much time do I have? Oh, I'm good. I can zip through this. Okay. Then imagine the social media, because the media outlet's going to post it. You're going to post it. Their audience is going to follow you. You're going to follow their audience. It's going to be crazy. There is no bigger megaphone than social media. And again, you always want to tag that journalist. Show them the love. They've got to build their following too. This is a win-win here. And then imagine what's going to happen when people Google you. So now you've got the press and you've got these media outlets, because they all have a lot more Google juice than any of us have, really. This is what gets you to the top of the search engines. You're riding somebody else's coattails. So PR, social media, it's where the magic happens. When you combine those, you're talking millions and millions and millions of people. So I told you guys this was my story. When I got on for National Healthy Foot Month, I tweeted the anchor because I saw a story that she did about another product. I said, oh my God, I love that story. And she said, oh, well, if you know another product that would fit in my segment, please let me know. Now, I still had to hook her in with the National Healthy Foot Month, but that got my foot in the door. Fabulous story. I do a whole thing. We'll talk about this tomorrow. When you connect with journalists, I want you to connect with them on LinkedIn. So Erin did this, connected with a journalist. She had gotten her story that she needed, or the quote that she needed, but she was doing a piece for NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt that has 7 million viewers, all because he sent a LinkedIn message. You think you want to connect with some journalists? Timing is everything, building relationships. This is amazing that he was the guy. Imagine going to that appointment. Oh, do you want to see me on the NBC Nightly News? Good stuff. Okay, so all of you guys can be in the media. So now, close your eyes again. It's January 14th, 2022. What's it look like? Who's going to be in the media? Yeah, who's going to blow up their business? All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Nobody raised their hands. That's okay. You don't have to come. But thank you, guys. I guess I have a minute if anyone has questions, but we can go through all this tomorrow, build out your hooks, your pitches, whatever you want. Thank you.